I didn't always look like this. I used to have way more hair, wore a lot less makeup, and if you had told me at age 51 that I would become a clown, I would have told you you were crazy. As a matter of fact, none of this happened until the death of my father in 2018. They say that trauma and stress can do crazy things to a body. This is a proof point, right? I used to laugh at my dad walking down the street wearing striped pants and a plaid shirt. I told myself I would never do that. But my death of my father was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. At that particular time, I was working a job that I hated. My stress level was at an all-time high. And then my dad croaked. So as you can see, my life was not always a big bowl of cherries. Sometimes it was the pits. When I was growing up, I had very low self-esteem and a touch of post-traumatic stress brought on by years of being bullied. In school, my classmates used to push me into lockers and call me names. Back in my day, we didn't have Twitter and the internet, so the bullies made house calls. So I learned how to navigate bullies from a very early age. And even at home, I had to navigate a bully. I was often chased around the house by an abusive alcoholic stepfather carrying a belt. Well, he was carrying a belt. I was usually hiding. And how I escaped all of this was by watching movies. And one particular movie that I watched a lot was Patch Adams starring Robin Williams. Now, for those of you who don't know who Patch Adams is a medical doctor who believes that most people can be cured more through laughter, humor, and connection than through medicine. This is the real Patch Adams. And so I decided to call Patch Adams on the phone, and within 3 weeks, I was on a bus in the middle of Russia with 35 clowns and Patch Adams. We traveled all over, going into the most unfunny, unhappy places, children's hospitals and orphanages, the KGB. And all along, we had one rule, and that rule was be funny and make people laugh. And which was a little difficult because, did I mention we were in Russia? So most of the Russians spoke Russian. I only spoke English. And so, of course, I wasn't very good as a clown, to be quite honest with you. As you can see, my nose was way too big. My ears were a little bit droopy when I was there. But everywhere we went, I couldn't even make balloon animals. But everywhere we went, it didn't matter because place after place and face after face, every single child that we encountered was smiling. That was, of course, until we went to a hospice. Now, when we walked into this particular hospice, Patch Adams went right up to the top floor because he wanted to see how many people that he could get into his giant underpants. So while he was trying to get people into his underpants, they sent all of the other clowns to separate floors. So they would take 3 clowns on this particular wing, 3 clowns on this wing. And again, our job was simple. Go into every single room, make people smile, make people laugh. So when I had gone into all of the rooms that I was supposed to go into, I found myself standing in front of one particular door, and as I was ready to go in, the doctors came over to me and they said, "No." And I said, "What's wrong?" And from what I could gather from the look on the doctors' faces, inside this room was a woman named Helena. Nobody ever came to visit her the whole time she was in the hospice. She was very angry and she would throw things. So they told me, whatever you do, don't ever go into that room. So if you've ever seen the movie Patch Adams, you know that he would go into that room. So the moment they turned their back, I walked into the room, I pulled out a little thing of bubbles out of my pocket, and I started blowing bubbles. One bubble happened to waft right across Helena's face, and then she turned and she looked at me. And I could only imagine what she thought when she saw this giant clown moose standing in the middle of her hospital room. And so she motioned for me to come over and sit down on her bed. I went down and I sat down on her bed, and I was trying to teach her how to blow bubbles. And as she took a big breath in and blew some bubbles out, her teeth flew clear across the room. So as I ran over and I picked up her teeth, something had happened that had not happened in 4 years. Helena laughed. Never underestimate somebody's ability to laugh. When I went on my clown tour, I was broken and battered, but when I came home, I found out that doing nice things for other people in turn made me happy. Becoming a clown saved my life. It can save yours too. Thank you.